Hi, congratulations for taking the time to honestly go through that questionnaire and that assessment. And I hope that you took your time going through that and that you actually were honest with yourself. You needed to be true to yourself to have any value for you. And it is for you. It's not for me. And that's why I do not need now, nor ever need to know your actual score. But there's something I didn't mention before, and that is you need to, if any of these three situations are part of your life, you need to add some scoring points for that. First, if you're on any continuing prescription meds for anything, you need to add 4 points to that. Secondly, if you happen to be an alcoholic or an addict, you need to add 8 points to your score. And thirdly, if you're in ongoing talk therapy, then you need to add 4 points. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take a look at your score. You have it in front of you, maybe with what is added there. And we're going to go ahead and look at the four different ranges of scores. If your score fell into the A range, or between 0 and 10, I have to tell you, I think you're really, truly blessed, as it seems that life and your life conditioning from all its sources, mother, father, teacher, preacher, all these have failed to contaminate you. And you're probably leading a balanced and focused life and have happily found your purpose. That's fantastic. If you happen to score in the range, the B range, which is from 11 to 20, this happens to be the range where, a lot of us around the entire globe live. Anxiety and worry they're sort of smoldering within us. There's not any big fires. And our life, as we live it well, things aren't so great, but then again, things aren't so bad. And we do worry about things and sometimes get anxious, but mostly in our simple pedestrian life, there's not any successes regarding anything. But then again, you're not falling flat on your face either. You probably wouldn't mind some success regarding relationships or money or accomplishments, but that smoldering worry about the possibly failing keeps you passive. And you've been conditioned to this, and you only question it in the silence of your quiet thoughts. You don't have an abundance of energy if you score in this range as well. The third range, C, which is the score from 23 to 39, and this is what I call the modern world scoring range. And one might guess that your hair is on fire on many occasions during any given week. You're a doer, correct? And you look to achieve. You're an achiever. You're driven to accomplish either a good amount or a lot. And you understand the importance of goals and goal settings, of measuring yardsticks and methods and ways of achieving in every aspect of your life. You've been conditioned to this, as this is the mantra of the modern first world times. Do, achieve, accomplish, succeed, or you aren't all you could be. You more than likely have perceived successes in relationships, employment, finances, security, health. And outside, looking from the outside, you look accomplished, but at the same time, you're internally unsatisfied, and you lack joy about any success that you may have. In the end of anything that you happen to achieve, you may say to yourself, is that all there is? Self-satisfaction is not the hallmark of the worried and anxious. Additionally, in these times, you also may be very obsessive about exercise or obsessive about other things to reduce this thing called stress. You don't use anxiety or worry, you call it stress. But you may be obsessive about, this thing called mindfulness or meditation or yoga or even in prayer. You need to achieve here too. Now, since all your successes are external, measured, and comparative, they tend to be very fleeting notions of success for you, since those around you are always moving the goal line. Your ever-present background of worry relating to doing, coupled with your anxiety from comparing, keeps you exhausted. And you can sense that in your body. But you know what? You tend to try to override that sensation with what I call legal habituants, things like sugar or caffeine or Red Bull or Monster, cigarettes, over-the-counter medications, or even alcohol. Probably alcohol is the number one. As I mentioned before, you may even be doing a lot of obsessive amounts of exercise. But that's to reduce stress, right? Everybody does this. But you, along with the rest of our society, as we call this stress, and we believe it's only natural. Stress keeps you fine-tuned, right? Fine-tuned to do what? Fine-tuned to achieve. But you know, life happens, and it tilts a bit, as it does every day, and it throws you curves, and your hair is on fire. It's on fire with anxiety to get you back on your achievement track. Most of you that score in this range are outwardly achieving, but inwardly scared, and really too cool to admit to yourselves about being anxious, because that's considered a weakness. So you call it stress, the collectively agreed upon term for the anxious and worried achiever. The last scoring range, D, if you happen to score in here, between 40 and 48. This is a very high score, and you might expect this to be rare. But I have to tell you, sadly, it's all too common, and it's too common because it flows as the unfortunate consequence of continuously living in the previous C range in our modern world for too long. If your score lands here, I would guess that you're overwhelmed all the time and not very happy. All life situations are a real challenge for you every day. It's a challenge for you to act or respond appropriately in most circumstances. Your continual feeling is that your head is exploding. And hopefully in the past you sought, or maybe now you sought medical care with a variety of strong meds, first maybe for anxiety or obsessive disorders or mania or whatever, a variety of things. And again, hopefully maybe you're in therapy and talk therapy and have had years of therapy and counseling from many different therapists. But your life focus is primarily your anxiety. It has taken you over. And you may have even found yourself giving up and succumbing and falling into depression. If you've not sought medical help and are in this scoring range, I will hope you do so. Okay, so now you know your score and where you stand. What's next? But most importantly, what do you want to do? I would guess that you want more than a lower score just for the sake of having a low score. I would also guess that intuitively you know that your worry and anxiety are destructive to you. You simply want to feel good. And with that feeling good, you want to move through your life doing what you want to do and accomplishing what you want to accomplish, and enjoying the path and savoring the results, right? The big question you're thinking, is there some way for me to eliminate my anxiety? But maybe you're thinking, is there just a way for me to knock down my anxiety and worry just a little so I can get by, so I can just deal with life on a daily basis? And I have to tell you, my answer to both of those questions is a resounding yes. But you know, first I want to ask you, what have you been doing so far up to this point in your life? And how has that worked out for you? What's been your choice of approaches to deal with your anxiety and worry? You ignore it? Or maybe you blind yourself to your anxiety and worry. Maybe you numb and deaden yourself with alcohol, street drugs, or prescription meds. Or maybe you spend your time in dialogue and different types of talk therapy. Or perhaps a combination of some or all of them have been useful approaches for you. I want you to know something. I've been there exactly where you are, so I have an intimate knowledge of your thoughts, but you know, more importantly, your feelings regarding these approaches. I know the feeling of being buzzed on alcohol or hyped up on caffeine or Red Bull. I know the feeling of being high on a variety of drugs, spaced out, non-responding, just rolling along, or you don't care, or maybe like whatever. And you know what? You've probably convinced yourself that there's nothing that you want. And you generate very low expectations for yourself. And you don't feel good. And down deep, you know you're not getting what you want. Down deep, you know you're better than this. I know the feeling of being medicated as well, being legally drugged with light and heavy drugs. And like you, I know it's not so much about euphoria, but it's being numbed. It's living life in slow motion. And with this, you're sort of senseless. You have no feeling. There's no up, there's no down, there's no plus, there's no minus. It's sort of neutral. And it seems that neutrality of feeling is the goal of these medications. There's not real clarity or focus, and there are no goals or clear thinking. You're either a little or a lot out of your mind, but you know you're always out of your body. Has this approach been working for you? Do you feel good? Do you feel good accomplishing what you want regarding relationships or finances, money, success, empowerment, your health? Do you feel good? Are you getting where you want to get? I also know what it's like to spend hours and days, months in counseling or therapy. First, it's great. It's like, holy crap, finally someone is going to listen to me. You know what? And they're going to take the load. They're going to analyze. They're going to strategize. And they're going to get my stinking thinking improved. So you've been a long time in therapy. How's that going? Has your anxiety and worry left you? Is it gone? Maybe you're the achiever and you blind yourself with rationalizations. And I have to tell you, those that are achievers, they do this instinctively. They say to themselves, I'm too smart. I'm too smart for anxiety. I'm too educated. I'm too successful. I'm too experienced. I'm too attractive. I'm too well off. I'm too whatever. Anxiety really doesn't affect me. I'm above it. Yeah, but you have that thing called stress. But of course, everybody has that as achievers, right? And how do you deal with that stress? You deal with that stress with alcohol, with recreational drugs, working out 7 days a week, or other obsessive behaviors. But you don't feel good. You have achievements, but you don't savor them. You're really wound very, very tight, and you don't feel good. Now, I have to say, all the approaches that they have value, all of them, both for you and for me and for anyone. And if they're working for you, please stay the course. I want you to be anxiety-free. I want you to be worry-free. And I want you to accomplish what you want in life. And importantly, I want you to cherish those results. But I have to say, if you want to add a drug-free, non-talking, do-it-yourself method to discharge your anxiety and to erase your worry, I have the opportunity for you to discover that. But perhaps before I tell you about that, this do-it-yourself method, my reasonable guess that you might be asking yourself or wondering, who the heck am I? Again, I'm going to repeat myself. I'm Dr. Johnny Kenley. I'm both a physician and energy psychologist, practicing for 25 or more years in the United States, and then, and actually now in Africa and in Asia. And I began developing a method, a process 10 years ago to reduce anxiety, to lessen it, or to eliminate it. I developed this process as a result of my own 2001 traumatic brain injury. And then years of subsequent unrelenting, debilitating anxiety. In this time, I was truly driven to find a way for someone to be able to help themselves, a do-it-yourself approach. And I developed this approach. I refined it, I tested it, I refined it more, and I have treated more than 4,000 people, primarily in Africa, Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, where I've worked for many years. And I've taught them how they can do this for themselves. I've also taught it in thousands more in workshops in India, Russia, China, and the Baltic states. I've published a couple of books about this. The first one is Freedom from Anxiety. And the latest is Erasing Worry Rapidly, which is an Amazon #1 bestseller. There's a great deal of valuable information within all of this, as well as my detailed biographical data. It's also on my website, anxietysolutionsnow.com. That's anxietysolutionsnow.com. But enough about me, because this is not about me. It's about your worry and anxiety. There is something you can do. It's about how you can learn a remarkable, rapid, 60-second anxiety hack. I developed this to lessen anxiety temporarily in any impending worrisome situation. So, how many of these situations pop up every single day of your life? 10, 100, 1,000, all day long? There's nothing but situations that pop up. And your anxiety that you have freezes you, or your anxiety reacts for you. There's no resourceful response. This anxiety hack will temporarily diminish your anxiety enough for you to respond and act appropriately. This anxiety hack is straightforward, easy to learn, do-it-yourself method, and it will temporarily lessen your anxiety. It's a non-drug and no-mind method. So if you would like to learn this method, please click below and change your life forever.